Good morning, everybody. So we're here this morning answering some of our students' questions. They've sent the questions in and we're just going to address them one at a time. So Arnold, a question for you.
Okay.
What makes me feel dizzy when I practice? So dizzy or nauseous while practicing?
Yeah, so when we do Tai Chi, it starts to correct various sort of processes within the body. And as that happens, you might feel dizzy, nauseous, all kinds of strange sensations might pop up. But it's just a correction taking place.
Correction as in a physical correction, a mental, energetic, or would it be on all the different levels, the correction taking place?
Yeah, wherever there's a problem, the correction is going to take place.
Okay.
Sometimes if someone's been very ill or sick, when they start Tai Chi, it can happen quite quickly. And it can be quite dramatic. They want to feel like they need to sit down or they're going to pass out or throw up or something like that. But once it passes, then they're usually much better.
Okay.
Sometimes as you get much deeper in your practice, it could happen after a couple of months or even years where something occurs.
So like an accumulation of practice.
Yeah, so once there's like almost like it builds up to a point and it wants to break through, and when that happens, it's quite noticeable. So hypothetically, you might have a pain in your lower back or something, or the vertebra might be slightly out or something. So each time you practice, it's going to get quite painful in that spot. It feels like there's pressure or build-up or intensity of pain in that area. The moment you stop, then it subsides again. But at some point, it reaches a point where it's like quite extreme or really uncomfortable, and then suddenly it just passes, and then the back pain goes away, and it's like you never had it in the first place.
Okay.
But it works its way through. But some things are not as obvious as like your spine is out.
Yeah.
So you might just feel nauseous or dizzy or things like that.
As a beginner though, how would you know whether you're doing it correctly or not? So if you're experiencing pain, for instance, or that discomfort, how do you as a beginner judge whether it's something that you should be wary of, doing the actual form or your practice, or whether you can push through and it being part of that change, transformation?
So that's kind of why Tai Chi is a much safer activity or sport than other exercises. Because it's so slow and gentle, you're very unlikely to kind of injure yourself. The only thing really that tends to come up is people's knees. You have to keep your knee in the correct posture when you do Tai Chi. But you're not likely to injure anything else because it's so slow and gentle.
Yeah.
So if you encounter all kinds of aches and pains, you can just push through it. If you're not sure, ask your teacher or whatever. But most things it should be fine. Yeah.
So it's very important then to have a teacher who is guiding you through the principles and the fundamentals of Tai Chi, rather than just doing like a physical practice, so that they can then observe how you're doing it to make sure that you're doing it according to those principles.
Yeah, for sure. So you always, when you join a group or a class, it's far better if you can be in an environment where your instructor can individually come check up on you from time to time, make sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Some classes are not run like that. There's one person standing in front, he turns up, goes through the form, everyone else just follow the best they can, and they leave again. Which means there's no observation of, are you doing anything wrong?
Yes.
Are you on the right path?
Yes.
That kind of thing. You just following, but it's easy to think you're doing the right thing and you're not. So you need someone that actually comes and checks, what are you doing? Is that correct?
That individual guidance. Yeah. Okay. So then it's this change that you speak of. what is it? What change is your body trying to do? Is it trying to, or is it like a manipulation, or is it an energetic change? Or are we trying to get to somewhere with this, you know, as we go through the Tai Chi? Is it of benefit, or is it just, you know, par for the course of training?
Yeah, so it comes down to how we view the body. We tend to think of the body as just a physical thing. But if we had to look at existence, at the base level, we just waves and then particles and then energy exchange. And so if you look at it from the bottom up, if you start making corrections there, then the body will follow those changes and self-correct. As opposed to just looking at the physical final structure and trying to work with that. So Tai Chi goes to a very sort of deep base level and connects with that, and the changes then follow on from there, as opposed to just physically I'm trying to stretch my arm out, I'm trying to do this
from the outside in, so
it makes changes
from the inside out.
Okay. So obviously, if once you get into the weeds of that, it gets very complicated to explain properly how that happens, and this is not quite the format for that. But it's inside out.
Okay. Perfect. So, in conclusion, people who are practicing with, you know, a teacher who has always teaching according to these principles and guidelines, feeling these changes or feeling the nausea or dizziness or whatever the case may be, or discomfort, it's not a bad thing. It's something that they can push through with and not be alarmed.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.